Hello students, we are about to begin our next class. So we will be continuing with Act 1, Scene 2 from line number 80. Please pay attention. Brutus, what means this shouting? I do fear people choose Caesar for their king. See, Cassius says, aye, do you fear it? That is Cassius, we've been watching for long, that he's trying to motivate and convince Brutus about something. So I'll repeat what Brutus said just now. What means this shouting? I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king. The people, all the people along with Julius Caesar and Calpurnia, Decius, Cicero and everybody else, along with the common people, they had walked towards the capital, as we had just read in the previous part. And Cassius and Brutus are talking to each other, and we are in the midst of that conversation. And here Brutus says, what means this shouting? I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king. Cassius says, aye, do you fear it? That is, he was as though he was waiting for this opportunity, just to see whether are you really are you really disturbed, are you really perturbed that the people are choosing Caesar for their king. Aye, do you fear it? Then must I think you would not have it so? Then should I think that you don't want that to happen? Then should I think that you don't want Caesar to become king? Brutus says, I would not, Cassius, yet I love him well. We've just come across and we've just seen that Brutus is going through a terrific inner turmoil, and where he finds that his love for Rome and love for Caesar are at war within himself. He is in a war within himself, and he is as though he is torn with his inner troubles. So he says, I would not, Cassius, yet I love him well. Now look, Brutus loves Caesar well, yet he does not want Caesar to become the king of Rome. But wherefore do you hold me here so long? I don't want him, Caesar, to be the king. That's okay, that part is there. But why are you holding me here so long? What is it? But wherefore do you hold me here so long? What is it that you would impart to me? If it be aught toward the general good, that is, if it is for the general good, if it is for the good of the nation, if it is for the good of the general public, for the good of Rome, set honor in one eye and death in the other, that is, and I will look on both indifferently. That is, if it is the question of the honor of Rome, honor of the state of Rome in which they stay, and that is there. The question of safeguarding the honor is there, and the question of being aware of the dangers, that is also there. The danger lurking underneath is also there. So he says, if it be aught toward the general good, set honor in one eye and death in the other, and I will look at both indifferently. I will look on both indifferently. That is, when I will look at both, I will look at each with a different eye. I will not get confused. I will not mix up the situation, and I will definitely deal with each problem in a different way. For let the gods so speed me as I love the name of honor more than I fear death. That is, he feels the state is in danger. He feels that the honor of Rome should be safeguarded. And he also understands the reason why Rome is in danger. So he does not want his love for Caesar, that one particular person, to interfere with his love for Rome, to interfere with his idea of safeguarding Rome as a nation. So he says, I will look at both with a different eye. For let the gods so speed me as I love, that is, let the gods help me to succeed in being indifferent towards the love for Rome and the love for this person Caesar. Let me not get mixed up, and let the gods help me to deal with it. The name of honor more than I fear death. That is, he wants the gods, he wants help from the gods, he wants the gods to help him succeed in knowing that he is there to safeguard the name of honor, and that he has this as on a greater priority list, on a greater priority level than death or danger which is existing in the nation. Cassius says, I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus. Cassius says, well, I know that virtue, that quality to be in you. You know, just a little while ago, Cassius has said that he is acting as a mirror. He is acting as a reflector to Brutus. So what he is doing is, he is trying to bring out or unfold the qualities of Brutus, and he is trying to make him aware that yes, you are the person who the Romans are, who the general mass is looking forward to. Please come out of your shell and please come and help them. Please become aware of what exactly you are, and please help them lead a good life. He says, I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favor. I know the way you're looking at it. I know the way your external appearance, the way you're dealing with the behavior you're extending towards people. Well, I can understand, and I am not misunderstanding you after I have listened to your justification of why you are extending troubled and disturbed external behavior towards all. Well, honor is the subject of my story. Honor is the subject of my story because I'm talking about nothing else except honor. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life. I cannot understand. I cannot understand the way you are thinking about life or other men are. But think of this life. But for my single self, that is for myself, what I think is, I had as lief not to be as live to be. Life is a state of happiness. That is, I cannot be very happy to live this life, to live in awe of such a thing as I myself. That is, generally people, what they are doing is they are getting awestruck by Caesar. Well, I don't choose to lead such a life. I don't choose to live such a life, and I had as lief not to be as live to be. That is, I cannot just go on be living with happiness because Caesar is overruling me, and I have to be awestruck, and I have to just be very happily supporting him. I cannot do that. Now, his justifications. He is trying to compare himself and, as a result, Brutus with Caesar. In short, he is trying to convince Brutus to come out, to be aware of his own qualities, and to come to the help of the nation and save the nation from Caesar. Cassius says, I was born free as Caesar. So were you. We both have fed as well. That is, both of us were born free as Caesar. We both have fed as well. We've got enough to eat in the same way as Caesar has eaten and is eating. And we can both endure the winter's cold as well as he. That is, we can both tolerate the cold winters in the same manner as Caesar can. For once upon a raw and gusty day, it was cold, it was very windy, and the troubled Tiber chafing with her shores, the river Tiber, it was raging against the shores because of the stormy day. It was a very gusty, windy, stormy day. And Caesar said to me, Darest thou, Cassius, now? Leap with me into this angry flood and swim to yonder point. That is, Caesar has given him the challenge. He's referring to some incident when Caesar had given him the challenge to dive into the troubled waters of river Tiber during that strongly windy day, in the stormy and windy day, and leap with me into this angry flood. The waters of the river. It was very, very turbulent, and it is very difficult to swim in such turbulent waters. However, Caesar had literally challenged Cassius and said that, Cassius, can you dare to jump with me into this angry flood and swim to some nearby point? Upon the word, accoutred as I was, Cassius is talking about himself. Accoutred means he was dressed up. He could, so he did it. He just dived into the, I was, accoutred as I was, I plunged in. He immediately dived into the water and bade him follow, and asked Caesar to follow him. So indeed he did, and Caesar immediately followed. The torrent roared, the waves of Tiber, the torrent, there was a great current in the river, and it just roared, and they fought it out, both of them, and we did buffeted with lusty sinews, muscular arms, sinews, muscles. They just swam across, and throwing it aside. What were they throwing aside? Throwing aside the waters and moving forward, and stemming it with hearts of controversy. That is, here there was a sort of a challenge, a competition between Caesar and Cassius, and also between the two gentlemen and the river current. It was terrible. So there was a sort of a dual competition getting played. A competition between Caesar and Cassius, and a competition between the river water and the two men who had dived in. That is, Caesar and Cassius. But ere we could arrive the point proposed. Now, Caesar has actually asked them to go to a particular point. But before he could reach that point, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink." He begged help from Cassius because he felt that he was going to sink. I, as Aeneas, our great ancestor. Aeneas happened to be his great ancestor, and who from the flames of Troy upon his shoulder, that is, when the Greeks burnt and looted Troy after 10 years of siege, Aeneas rescued his father Anchises. Aeneas rescued his father Anchises, now who was Aeneas. Aeneas was Cassius's great ancestor. So his great ancestor did from the flames of Troy. Troy was put on fire. So did from the flames of Troy, rescued who? Anchises, his old father, by placing him on his shoulder and carrying him along. So what Cassius did was, so from the waves of Tiber did I, the tired Caesar. So what he did, Cassius is saying that I also rescued Caesar from the waves of Tiber in the same way by carrying him away on my shoulder. And he's saying tired Caesar because he could no longer swim. He did not have that energy to swim across. And so Cassius rescued Caesar. Now, and this man is now become a god. So Cassius, what he is doing, he is particularly trying to bring Caesar's image down, and he is saying that if this is his quality, how can he become the ruler? And this man is now become a god. And Cassius is a wretched creature and must bend his body if Caesar carelessly but nod on him. But look at the quality he has. He practically is just powerless. He had cited the incident of the swimming sort of competition that Caesar had called for once upon a time in the river Tiber. So do you think Cassius's attitude towards Caesar is justified? Well, we'll keep it aside and we'll continue with his speech. He had a fever so this was incident number 1, Cassius trying to bring down Caesar's image. Number 2, he had a fever when he was in Spain. And when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. So this is, Cassius is actually taking advantage of the situation when Caesar had fallen ill. He was sick. He had fallen ill. So it can be that when a person is feeling ill and he has fallen ill, that he can shake or he can tremble. We'll continue with what Cassius is saying. He had a fever when he was in Spain. And when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. It is true, this god did shake. Well, Julius Caesar happens to be a human being after all, and he can shake if he has got fever. But anyway, let's see how Cassius puts it. How Cassius brings out his character. It is true, this god did shake. His covered lips did from their color fly. His covered lips, that is, they had become pale. Did from their colors fly means the color of the lips, it just vanished. And they became pale. And that same eye, whose bend doth o'er the world, that same eye, the people, when Caesar looks at people, the people are awestruck, and the people, they become very subdued, they become obedient. So he says, and that same eye whose bend doth o'er the world did lose his luster. It actually lost its luster. Why? Because he was sick. But Cassius is explaining things in another way, according to the way in which he is liking him, because he is jealous of Caesar. I did hear him groan. Aye, and that tongue of his that bade the Romans mark him and write his speeches in their books. Yes, when Caesar is being a good orator, when he is giving speeches, people are writing his speeches in their books. This person, it cried, mark him and write his speeches in their books. Alas, it cried, give me some drink, Titanius, as a sick girl. Because why? Because he was sick. Yeah, gods. Look at the way um, Cassius is trying to interpret things. Ye gods, it doth amaze me, a man of such feeble temper should so get the start of the majestic world, and bear the palm alone. Palm alone is the palm of victory, triumph, peace. And he is getting, a person as weak as this is getting to get the start of the majestic world, is getting ready to become the king, and to bear the palm alone. He is becoming the sole ruler. He is becoming and he's bearing the palm alone. The palm is actually the symbol of victory, of triumph, and of peace. According to Cassius, this man who has got such a feeble temperament or a character trait has got no right to be a ruler. According to Cassius, a ruler should be a very, very strong person. But actually, we all know that a ruler is also a human being. However, Cassius puts things in the way he wants it to be. He is jealous of Caesar, so he is trying to bring out all the weak points in him. Now, Brutus says, another general shout. I do believe that these applauses are for some new honors that are heaped on Caesar. That is, Brutus says that I do believe that these applauses are, that when the people are shouting, they are clapping, they are saying hurrah for Caesar, he is feeling that these are for some new honors that are being conferred on Caesar. Cassius says, why man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus. So he just simply overrules the narrow world. Colossus is actually a huge bronze statue of Apollo, which is as the sun god at Rhodes, the easternmost island of Greece, and it happens to be it is a very narrow strait, the harbor, and so it has he stands just on top of that, and it is in the same way that Cassius is saying that it is just like the statue of Colossus, that Brutus is trying to be standing over the commoners of Rome, and to as if be their overall ruler, their sole ruler. They cannot look beyond Caesar. And we petty men, that is, we are simply petty men who are walking under his legs, walk under his huge legs and peep about. That is, who actually peeps about? Men who are, who are just like the mice and the rodents. They just peep about to find some shelter somewhere. So he is comparing the people, the ordinary people, with those rodents, or who are very helpless and trying to walk under his huge legs to find some shelter somewhere, to find ourselves dishonorable graves. That is, as though they are not able to do anything except to just follow Caesar and to believe in his policies, to believe in whatever he is saying, and he just wants him. He just feels that the people are rather being driven to be under him, to follow him. He is massively sort of acting as a tyrant over them. Men at sometimes are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. What he says is, men are sometimes masters of their fates. That is, we are sometimes responsible for the way we live, for the way we carry on. It is not that the fault is not in our stars, the star under which we are born. It is in ourselves, because if we actually cannot protest, if we simply go by what is going on and we are made to follow Caesar, we will be finding ourselves dishonorable graves in the future. And for this, we cannot blame our stars. We have to blame ourselves. Brutus and Caesar. What should be in that Caesar? So he is comparing Brutus with Caesar. Brutus and Caesar. What should be in that Caesar? Why should that name be sounded more than yours? Write them together. Yours is as fair a name. Sound them. It doth become the mouth as well. Weigh them. It is as heavy. Brutus and Caesar. They are similarly heavy. Conjure with them. Let us call upon the spirits. Brutus will start a spirit as soon as Caesar. So call upon the spirits, and you will find that, well, you are exactly equally powerful, much alike Caesar, or perhaps even more. Now, there is a shout once more. Now, in the names of all the gods at once, upon what meat that this our Caesar feed, that he is grown so great? Age, thou art shamed. Rome, thou hast lost the breed of noble bloods. When went there by an age since the great flood? But it was famed with more than with one man. That is, since the flood, was there any time when it was just famed and known for, this place was known for only one man? When could they say till now that talked of Rome, that her wide walks encompassed but one man? Now is it Rome? And now is it Rome indeed, and room enough, when there is in it but only one man? Oh, you and I have heard our fathers say, there was a Brutus once that would have brooked the eternal devil to keep his state of Rome as easily as a king. So there was a Brutus once that would have brooked the eternal devil. There was once, he is talking about Lucius Junius Brutus. He was the leader of the group who had expelled the Tarquin kings from Rome, and Brutus claimed descent from him, and because of that, Cassius is trying to remind him of his ancestors, that if you are from that generation, please remember that did he ever tolerate the eternal devil? He's talking about the Tarquin kings of that time. Did he ever tolerate them as king in Rome? No, he did not. Now, to which Brutus says, that you do love me, I am nothing jealous. That is, he is saying, Cassius, you do love me very much, and I am not at all doubtful about that. Jealous in this case is doubtful. I know that you love me very much. What you would work me to, what you are trying to make me understand and drive me to, what you are trying to motivate me towards, I think I can understand. I have some aim, that is, I can understand that. Now, how I have thought of this, and of these times, I shall recount hereafter. That is how I have come to understand that, how I have come to think of these times, I will recount hereafter. For the present, I'll do it after some time, but for the present, I would not. So with love I must entreat you, be any further moved. What you have said, I will consider. What you have to say, I will with patience hear, and find a time both meet to hear and answer such high things. That is, I will definitely find a time to get to talk about this and with you. Till then, my noble friend, chew upon this. Think upon this, ruminate. That is, in the same way as the cattle, they ruminate. They bring out the undigested food and they start on chewing. So he says, chew on this. That is, you go on thinking about this. Till then, Brutus had rather be a villager than to repute himself the son of Rome. Under these hard conditions as this time is like to lay upon us. That is, Brutus had rather be a villager. He would choose to be a villager than to be a son of Rome, than to repute himself the son of Rome. Under these hard conditions is like to lay upon us. He would rather live outside Rome than to just stay there and tolerate everything. Because he is well aware of the oppression that the general mass, that the mob is going through. Cassius says, I am glad that my weak words have struck but this much show of fire from Brutus. Cassius is actually being very modest. He says that I am glad that my weak words have struck this much fire, have at least struck this much fire from Brutus, and he feels that he has able to kindle that fire which that was actually his motive. It was his objective to just make him alert, make him understand, make him aware of his qualities. That is, please come out of your state of ignorance about yourself, know yourself, and if you have the capacity, please come out and stand in the way of Caesar and help and just save the people of Rome. So okay, so it's okay. So this much for today. It's line 175. Now just a word, just to tell you that if you have any queries, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment section. I'll get back to you. I'll definitely answer you. And please attend the classes and just go through whatever is being taught every day.